We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I know a fat old policeman, he's always on our street. A fat and jolly red-faced man, he really is a treat. He's too kind for a policeman, he's never known to frown. And everybody says he is the happiest man in town. He laughs upon point duty, he laughs upon his beat. He laughs at everybody when he's walking in the street. He never can stop laughing, he says he's never tried. But once he did arrest a man and laughed until he cried. His jolly face it wrinkled, and then he shut his eyes. He opened his great mouth, it was a wondrous size. He said, I must arrest you, he didn't know what for. And then he started laughing until he cracked his jaw.
I'm sorry. So sorry that I'm sorry, so sorry.
The loss of history is an endless struggle for documentary evidence of what took place in the past, but there's not always evidence documented from certain events physically available to call upon as we seek out historical accuracies. In some cases, we only remember that things took place through human remembrance, and we can't stress the importance of this enough. The oral tradition of remembering things is part of our civilization journey here on Earth. From the earliest of times, we have told stories from generations to generation, with nothing else but our memories to call upon. As the story ages, the people involved in the events die out, but the story remains in the families of the involved. We do constantly say in this day and age, when someone tells you something incredible about past events, we say, prove it. And therein lies the seeds of doubt that it ever took place. For if evidence no longer exists of certain things that existed or took place, then we have no reason to believe it ever was real in the first place. And the longer history is stretched out into time, the more inevitable this will become. In some cases, even with undeniable evidence of a technologically advanced past, we still don't believe it because the today and now we live in is seen as the pinnacle of all that has ever been. Now, we are not saying to believe everything you hear to be true, not at all. What we are saying, however, is that if there is a widespread oral tradition of remembrance in, say, the Lighthouse of Alexandria or the Colossus of Rhodes, even with no physical evidence these things ever existed, there is still a massive foundation from where these stories originated, so they obviously existed. One of the remaining wonders of the ancient world is the Great Pyramid. Now get this, no inscriptions exist anywhere about these things. Nowhere does it say what it is, who built it, or why. It is just sitting there with no apparent reason as to its existence. Now, if that had been blown up or destroyed somehow in the past before we started documenting its existence, would we believe this thing was ever real? Or would it be glassed as a mythological fantasy like so many other things from history?
glacier.
Worshipping the memory of Akhenaten, because in between his two hands is where the sun rises on winter solstice.
If that had been blown up or destroyed somehow in the past before we started documenting its existence, would we believe this thing was ever real? Or would it be glassed as a mythological fantasy like so many other things from history?
Человек не молодой, сразу вспоминаю лозунги еще того времени, что братья навек.
What do you make of all the fake news and it affects
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
We had been exploring the cave art of this part of Sulawesi with our scientific counterparts in Indonesia, the National Research Centre for Archaeology and the local Cultural Heritage Preservation Branch based in Makassar, as well as our colleagues from various other local counterpart organisations. It's an amazingly rich rock art province there in Sulawesi. This cave is in a really well explored area. You know, our teams have been through there a million times, and then one day, one of the guys just looked up and noticed what seemed to be an entrance to a high-level cave, climbed up a fig tree route to investigate it, and then bang, there's this incredible new rock art site in there that's essentially like nothing we've ever seen before in this entire region. It's this beautiful painting of some sort of hunting scene. Wow, these look like little people hunting these animals, but when you look closely at them, you can see that the figures themselves have been portrayed as part human, part animal creatures. They're what we call therianthropes. Like, for example, one of them seems to have the head of a bird, and another one seems to have a tail. They're armed with what seem to be spears or ropes that they're using to hunt these wild animals. It's suggested to us this extraordinary scene shows some sort of story or myth. From what
complex. It's fully complex, and it could be linked to that spirituality.
Exactly. Another one seems to have a tail. They're armed with what seem to be spears or...
The fact we are actively documenting every little thing these days proves that us humans have memory problems. Maybe subconsciously this is our new way of remembering, but we also need to not become reliant on artificially remembering things, and the oral tradition is still our most important tool.
It's complex, it's fully complex, and it could be linked to that spirituality.
Exactly. We had never seen anything like that at all, anywhere in Sulawesi, so we were stunned by the implications of this image. Rock art is exceptionally difficult to date in the best of circumstances. Rock art is exceptionally difficult to date in the best of circumstances.
His name will be Erez.
It's everything there. There's like a few ant stencils, animal paintings, there's human, there's narrative scenes, there's human with like animal features, like it's all there. And it's not just all there later, it's all there from the beginning.
It's just amazing, and to me it just shows how much more rock art is out there waiting to be discovered. That completely changes our understanding of the human story.
The loss of history is an endless struggle for documentary evidence of what took place in the past.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Through the tulips with me.
I'm going to have a look at one of my favourite artists, Hieronymus Bosch. He was a Flemish artist from the 15th and 16th century with a fantastic ability to create illustrative pieces that depict the modern world in Western Europe at that time. I don't know anything about his life. I've been reading quite a lot about him, and the fact is nobody does. Nobody's really sure exactly why he painted the things he did, but his paintings are fantastic. He has done a number of paintings credited with his signature, but there are at least 30 paintings with his style. Many of his contemporaries at the time copied his style because it was so good. And even to this day, people are looking at different ways of reinterpreting his artwork. There are numerous documentaries about his life and his artwork, and the picture that's been on the screen for some time appeared in one of my favourite films, In Bruges. As I look through his artwork, I'm finding it very difficult to figure out which ones are genuinely his. There are about 4 paintings called The Last Judgment, all of which feature fantastical creations.
We must talk. Oh my God. God is love. I don't love you.
I can't do this.
I can lay you out and fill your mouth with your mother's feces. Or we can talk.
And symbolism from daily life. When we talk about symbolism, we mean something that looks like one thing, but perhaps means something else. An example could be a key. Obviously, it opens a door, but what door and why? When we talk about symbolism, it means something that looks like one thing, but perhaps means something else. An example could be a key. Obviously, it opens a door, but what door and why? Is it the door to the mind? That is symbolism. I think this is a warning to humanity to be cautious of what we believe. What I really like about his paintings, though, is the way he illustrates in a very, I don't know where to look kind of sense. Most art, you follow, you look at a piece and you go, this is the focal point, this is the main thing. But Bosch's pieces, everything's everywhere. You could look at one bit, look at it the next day and find something completely different. It's like madness going on. I believe his commission pieces are done in a way that looks neat and tidy, whereas his own personal projects, the ones that really brought him acclaim, are freer in a way that expresses himself rather than what the customer demands. Of course, I don't know which ones they are, but I'm assuming the religious pieces, the ones that I don't really have much interest in, are the commission pieces. I really like the monsters in his paintings as well. Some of the monsters you think it's just a tiny man with feathers.
ceiling. They drank champagne on ice, and she said, we are all just prisoners here of our own device. And the master of chambers, they've gathered for the feast. Stab it with their stealing knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running through the door. Had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax as a nightman, we are programmed to receive. You can drink up anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Вызывай.
Motherfucker!
Давай, вызывай.
Давай, я говорю, давай.
Вот это! Да, да, вызывай. Финиш. Тише, я сижу.
Пидорас!
Я сижу.
Shut the fuck up!
Я сижу. Тише, тише.
Shut the fuck up!
But they just can't kill the beast.
I found the channel in about 2016, and it was like there was a signal that went out, and I started looking for it, and I found it. And it was almost as though immediately I knew I was in the right place. I knew that information was for me, as well as everybody else who heard that call. But it spoke to me immediately. There really wasn't an evolution, even though I know that that's the plan, to wake up the sleeping, the ones who don't know who they are, what they are. And I can't say that I knew what I was, but I kind of knew who I was. I never fit in. Growing up as a kid in the 60s and 70s, I was different. Catechism, Catholic school, and I was talking about reincarnation and asking why they wouldn't listen to me and hear why, I believe that I had lived before, and that I believe that we all live again and again. It didn't go over too well. And another thing, I used to not enjoy watching how the nuns or the priest treated the kids. And so I always would say, if you're a real Christian as you espouse yourself to be, you wouldn't be smacking kids and hitting them or verbally abusing them. And that got me in a lot of trouble. But I don't regret it. It was all worth it. Cheers to that. So anyway, after finding your channel and moving through all of the videos, and then again through the videos, I finally decided to try to find a way to reach out to you. And I think it was already after the Google Plus page was gone that I decided to reach out. But I wrote you an email, and you responded. I really didn't expect it. I was just kind of sending my gratitude and how much I was moved by your words and your work. And there was never any doubt for me that you were who you said you were. And that was important to me. And all I know is that I've had a full life, marriages, divorces, marriages, kids, grandkids. I've had a successful business in chiropractic for 29 years. I'm not wealthy by any means, and I've just made a living treating the rich and famous in Studio City. So, but that's good. I've never cared. Wealth was not one of those things that was important to me. It was always about integrity, how I could help people and how I behaved. So I was never motivated like many others to try to see people more than they needed to be seen for conditions, try to get them better as fast as possible. So, you don't make as much money that way, but that's better. I look in the mirror, and for most of the things, I'm happy with that. I'm at a point in my life, and I know when I set my offer again, I offered to be of service in any way possible. And I got a response, and I was told that I am a Caristus hybrid, and that I'm on the list. But I wanted to express that at this point in my life, and I'm still pretty young, but there's nothing that is more important to me for this life and the next life and maybe the next life than serving the cause. However that may be. I know that it is your decision, and you pick the 72s, and I trust that process. That's your process. But one of the most important things to me is that if I could, at some point in this life, and if not in this life, in the next life, serve as a 72, or anyway, in any capacity, I can offer my loyalty. I've seen the videos of other people who have offered their loyalty, and then they get some offer and they're bought out, and their integrity isn't where their words are. Or you have 72s who aren't ready for their mission, even if they don't know what it is. I can make a promise that I would be ready, that I would be loyal, and that I understand the bigger picture, that this goes beyond the here and now. I've gotten most everything I would want in this life that would serve me. Serving myself is not important. I want to serve. So I hope you'll consider that and consider the sincerity of my words. And I would hope that at some point I could be in your presence and listen and answer any questions. And perhaps going into the next life, I won't be in my 50s before I find out who I am. Maybe I can be born into a family where I can start early and be around people who know what they are, who they are, their purpose, the cause. I don't want to spend a lifetime, another lifetime, waiting a lifetime to learn that there was more that I could have done. Because believe me, when I got the words that just confirmed what I already thought was true, that I was a hybrid and that I'm one of yours, it changed my life. My life had already been changed just by the education that you bring. But when I found out, everything made sense. My whole life kind of came together, and I know that that's neither here nor there for anybody else. And I don't mean to be selfish in any way. But my gratitude is eternal. Ironically, I live on Angelino Avenue. I've got angels on my arm, angels in my house. It's always been that way. So, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I love everybody that has spoken, that I've been able to see their videos and their experiences, and that there are people who care, and that there's someone like you that nobody knows. The population does not know what you do, what you've sacrificed for time immemorial. So again, I thank you for the education. I thank you for sharing with me my identity. And I would be humbled to serve you, to serve the cause above and beyond all else, the goddess. Cheers. I love you. I hope someday I'm blessed enough to sit in your presence, or even in this form, in your presence, and hear you. Thank you.
Summer's tent, 'neath the black, the sky looks thin.
It's just a tiny man with feathers. But actually, that's quite a scary thing. But one thing we've all overlooked is the origins of the facehugger.
Heaven sent black horse sun, won't you come, won't you come? Black horse sun, won't you come, won't you come?
I don't know what is it doing? What is this?
Now, H.R. Geiger is credited for the creation of the facehugger because of his Alien series, but I actually believe that this painting has the facehugger on it. It's called Death of the Reprobate.
What the hell is that?
It's called Death of the Reprobate. It's called Death of the Reprobate. It's called Death of the Reprobate, and it's a very red piece about somebody dying in a bed, surrounded by what look like blackened lizards, snakes, perhaps a bull, and, frankly, the alien. The ones in the corner especially look like the beginnings of what could be Alien, and the one on the left is definitely, without a doubt, a facehugger.
What the hell is that?
It's called Death of the Reprobate, and it's a very red piece about somebody dying. I mean, what more do you want? Well, what we want, Robin Weatherall, is a manna machine and evidence of flying saucers in the sky. This is what's really fascinating. And some of the buildings you can see, they definitely look otherworldly, like they've been brought here from another planet.
It's complex, it's fully complex, and it could be linked to that spirituality.
Another one seems to have a tail. They're armed with what seem to be spears or...
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
You have no idea what's going on.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me. Oh, tiptoe from the garden, by the garden of the willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me. Knee deep in flowers we'll stray. We'll keep the showers away. And if I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me and tiptoe through the tulips with me? Knee deep in flowers we'll stray. We'll keep the showers away. And if I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me and tiptoe through the tulips with me?
The faithful,